You've seen my Platform Masters development videos, right? Well, have you ever wondered what I do behind the scenes to actually record and process them? That's what this particular video is all about. And I'll walk you through my entire process, or at least the bulk of it anyway. First, I have to open up Virtual Dub. Next, capture AVI. Video no display, because that is so annoying that it does that, and it's very distracting. However, there are a few things that you need to do. First, choose screen capture. That's what I do. Device settings, really no point in any of that. Of course, I haven't really fiddled around with them much. And of course, video source, no point in that one. Source, this is where the source of the video actually is. Like right now you're seeing in the top right corner, but if I move down here you can see it into the bottom right corner. That's because it's tracking the mouse pointer. For my Platform Masters videos, I use fixed offset. What that will do is, no matter where I move the mouse, it's always going to be in the same spot. Very useful in some cases. Best for windowed applications, such as my game, which runs at 1024 by 768. But I'll get at that a little bit later. Of course, I always capture the mouse pointer image. And this I'm not entirely certain on, but either way, of course I go with entire desktop. The next thing that I do is set the custom format. This is really pretty much the only thing that seems to work. You could use some of these, but in my case I have to go a lot smaller. And in my case I want to use the exact size of my display for my game. These don't even go up anywhere near this high, however. So, there's that parameter set. Compression. For this, you just choose the various compressions methods that you want to use. And of course, if you want to configure them, there's plenty of options. For initial recording, ultra fast, definite must. Virtual Dub hack, because well, I'm using Virtual Dub. And of course, the lower the quality, the bigger the file size, but the more pristine the end result will be. And in my case, I always use 1, because through further editing and stuff, that can end up degrading. So, of course, that's the case if I stitch together multiple segments. But either way, at least you get the idea. But these are my settings, and they pretty much remain unchanged. So, got the codec set, and let's see, that's otherwise it. And for audio, enable audio capture, and of course that's optional for you. Audio input, microphone, how else am I able to get my voice? It's kind of hard to do it without the voice. Of course there's other options you can use. Compression, for audio I usually use uncompressed because it uses very, very little disk space. And one thing you might note, well, one thing here is, what is this all about? This is where you set the audio frequencies and stuff like that. No point in stereo when you got a microphone and I can't record two sources at the same time. Line in and microphone, for example, which I would love to do, but I don't know how. Either way, but this is actually the setting I use. Notice that it didn't change. Of course, if you want to go with lower quality, like this for example, or even this, but yeah, I don't see any point in doing that. But that's what I basically use. Here you can set the frame rate. Of course, I think there was something in here that allows you to set the frame rate, but I don't remember exactly where that was. Nope. But it's not really important anyway. Of course, 30 frames per second is plenty for the most part. Audio input, where was that? Raw capture format, that's what it was. Of course, you can really, really crank up the quality, but I really don't have any need for that extreme. So, that otherwise concludes that basic part of that, or at least the preparation. The next thing I do is I set the capture file. Make sure this is my in progress, long path. My E drive is exclusively for videos and other such things like that. And this is where I basically name the files. Of course, this is in the works right now. I'm actually recording. This is what I'm recording at the moment. It's take 4. But either way, so what's with all these numbers here? That's actually the date. The year, month, day. November is, what month of the year? 11. And today is, guess what? 11. 11, 11, 11. How nice. However, instead of YT for YouTube, of which I'll get at later, I put take. Of course, this is going to be my first take, so obviously take 1. And long path, nothing new there. And when I'm all set, all I do is I hit capture video. Of course, that's going to really tax my system, so I'm not actually going to do that. But let's say I just hit that right now. What I'm going to do is I switch over to here. Yeah, you can't see my code. And I go up to here, hit play, and I'm recording. Of course, when I see the clock change accordingly, and then I go about describing the video and so forth from there. Nothing really special there. Now that I've otherwise recorded the video, when I'm done, what I usually do is, of course, stop capture. Then, of course, after that, it's just a matter of going to exit capture mode, and this is where I actually begin processing the video. Open video file. Let's see, it's the most recent take, obviously. But this doesn't look like Platform Masters. That's because of one thing. I need to crop this all out. And of course I have playback problems because, well, I need to upgrade my video card. I just hold shift to advance keyframes and otherwise go from there. So just use this slider to fine-tune that. But notice that, look how long it takes just to advance 1 frame. I'm going to press it right now. Go. That's how long it takes to decompress. It takes more than that, almost about that amount of time. So yeah, I need to upgrade my video card. So 3 more, since of course it's 30 frames per second and simple math, you know. So this is the first frame I do because it's the first thing you'll see in my game window. Of course, this text here is actually temporary. And then what I do is I go video compression, choose this codec as usual. 24 is definitely a no-no, so I reduce that down. 12 works quite well for that. This is what I'd use for my archiving anyway. Archive videos are a lot higher quality. Okay, set that. And let's see. Of course, I'm not doing that. So audio, what I usually do is full processing mode. And Virtual Dub's filtering for audio is really confusing to use. It needs improvement for one. But for simple stuff like volume adjustment in this case, this is otherwise sufficient. And I usually amplify by 8 decibels, which isn't too bad in a way. And of course, video audio. Use this I don't use actually for now for the archive version. Compression. Used to be that I was using this, but I'm experimenting with this still. And for archive videos, if you remember from how I process my music, ABR is a must. Use it. And of course I actually use rather high quality, but because it's mono, it actually works out quite well. My MP3 player, for comparison, actually uses 57, and I still can't tell the difference, let alone something like this. Yeah, 57 with ABR. Yeah, I've actually played it back, and so you'll know what I mean, but that aside, okay, I've set that, and I'm otherwise now ready to go, except for one thing. I want to play through it and see what this video is otherwise going to be like. This will take some time, so I might as well just delete that out and stitch another video segment together. And when I'm otherwise about done viewing the video, yeah, all these extreme speeds that I love getting in this game. And yes, this is really what that kind of speed's like in this game. And then in the real world, too. Yep, wait for the right moment for ending the video, and go back a few frames, waiting for it to decompress. Yeah, I have to wait that long to decompress. So another frame, just keep advancing frames. Love the sailboats. And I would say this is the first frame I'm going to be deleting. So if I want to delete frames, I use this to mark the first frame that's going to be deleted. In this case, the frame you're looking at will be deleted. So in this case, I go to the end like that, and I choose this one to end the delete. Of course, the frame that you saw there will actually be kept. So for example, well, if I selected this, just for an example, snap to keyframe, and if I deleted to this point here, I want to get one where there's movement. No movement there. There's plenty of movement here. Okay, now I want you to note this here. Okay, I'm going to select this. This is just temporary, by the way. Okay, there it is. Notice that this frame is still there. Of course, if you make a mistake, and of course there's always Control Z. Gotta love Control Z. It's so useful. And now that I've otherwise got everything prepared, sometimes I actually do this at the end, though, but still. And of course, since I've already set all that, I go, not save wave, I go, where is it? Save as AVI. And of course, I go to my archived section. Let's see, I got all these games that I gotta find it, there it is. And of course, instead of take 5 at the end, it's going to be archived. And then I just hit save, and now I just gotta wait for this to process. Why that happens, I don't know. This does take a while, but you'll get an idea on the overall progress here with Virtual Dub showing this. Of course, one thing you might want to watch when you're recording and stuff as well is watch these dropped frames and frames inserted and stuff like that, but that's no big deal really. Of course, you keep an eye on the projected file size. A really high-end processor, of course, if you get more threads and stuff like that, this can really get insanely fast. I'm really liking this i7 2600K processor I've got, and I still haven't even overclocked it yet. But then again, core temp is showing some wrong values for the clock. That is definitely not no 2/10 gigahertz. I think there's a bug with the program that's causing that. So why it's not going to 3.4 or something when I'm doing CPU intensive activities like this, that I don't know. So I'll just wait for this and delete. Of course, you might have noticed that this went up a lot, and that's because complex scenes compress, well, pretty bad, causing big file sizes. Same quality for the video otherwise, but it just really kicks up the file size. Simple scenes come into the view and this goes down. Normally you'll actually see the stuff in the background here, but because my system can't decompress fast enough, I'm leaning toward getting a 550 GI or a GeForce 550 Ti or something when I get the funds again. However, well, you at least get the idea, but it's probably what I'm going to have to do in order to accelerate this video decompression problem that I'm having. K-Lite, no good. Well, it had the most effect. I've tried updating drivers and a lot of other things, but I didn't get anywhere with them. It's now finally about done, so of course the file size really went up because of the complex scene. Now the last thing I need to do is, well, what I usually do is I close the program to reset all the settings, and of course this one's still running because it's capturing right now. Notice the inserted frame. Usually that happens when it falls behind. Frames dropped is, well, when it's losing frames and null frames are inserted. But one is otherwise fine over a long enough span. So I just simply open that video up, inconsistent sizing. Okay, and from there I don't have to do anything except I go normal recompress. This is for the YouTube version that I do. Of course the same thing here, except I go much lower quality. I'm probably going to have to even go lower, but I don't know what the size is going to be at the end. Of course YouTube does have huge file size limits, but that's not the problem. It's upload time, that is. And for this, I go first. Usually what I did was I changed it to 8-bit, but I'm kind of experimenting with something. Because, as a glitch, this won't go up to 48K, but this does. Why that is, I don't know, and how I got this, that I don't know either. But for YouTube, I usually use CBR, constant. I would like to try ABR and see what happens, and I'll just go with CBR since so far at least it works. And of course I go higher quality because CBR is going to degrade the quality. So, and that otherwise pretty much concludes that, and I just think my way through. I don't have to do any special processing or anything like that. This I seem to have problems with. So, from there I just go save. Of course I put it in here because everything that eventually ends up in the in progress gets deleted. So I just put YT at the end because it's a YouTube variant. And of course if I'm segmenting the video, what I'd usually do is I'd put F, and then I put, like, for example, 016303. Like that, for example, because that's the last frame of the segment. And I just go up the number from there, but since this is all one segment, I just leave that out. And otherwise, gotta wait for this again. You might be noticing that it's dropping real fast because there's no motion, and thus it compresses extremely well. But once all the motion gets in, this really shoots up. And I mean, it really shoots up. Oh, and one thing I kind of forgot is when I'm doing this, waiting for this, what I usually do is I type it in the description in Notepad. Why Notepad? Well, it's usually what I end up doing, and because the keyboard navigation, the way it works. And of course for getting templates and stuff, what I usually do is I, in a sense, steal formats from my other videos. Of course from there I just go with that, of course change this all accordingly. Of course I'm not paying much attention either. That has an effect. Let's see. Yeah, it's this one. The description I'll leave out, but the tags I keep. Of course, rawness, building, city, metropolis, skyscrapers, design. Of course, it all involves scenery. That's pretty much otherwise it, and from there, it's basically just typing the description as you see it, except I forgot about this. And since this is otherwise finally done, really big file size though, but at least it still works. Don't have all of it done yet, but I'm working on it. For this, I just return to my videos. This gets annoying considering I haven't even changed anything. So, what I usually do is I hit upload, waiting for this. Select files from computer, obviously. And of course I choose this, because that's the output I just got. The one I just saved. Huge file size, but no big deal there. Now all I gotta do is wait. And since I gotta wait, guess what? I still got a lot more typing to do in here for the description. So I'll just continue at that. The video is still uploading, however, I can now fill in all these other details. And that's what all this is all about. First, the title. Nothing really special there. a lot of windows, you know, it does have its effect. And I select all this. That's the entire description. YouTube's limited to 5,000 characters if I remember. So what I usually do is given my resolution, just to give you some math, yeah, I got some numbers here. Okay, I run at 1920 by 1440 resolution. The third highest available on the market. And a CRT monitor is the only way I can get that cheaply enough. But anyway, let's see, 1920, each character is 8 pixels at the font size I've got. Of course, with the scroll bar in there, -2, but I usually use 240. And that's roughly about how much you get. Of course, with word wrap and stuff like that, you could probably say an average of about 3. So each line is about 235. Okay, each full line, that is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 8 full lines. Okay, and I add in these, I just get a rough estimate, so I'll call that 9. All 3 of these I'll consider as 2 for 12. Or 11, I mean. So it's basically 11. Take that times 11 full lines. And that's basically about how many characters it is. You might notice that I use the keyboard a lot. Description, I just paste that in. The tags, nothing special here. Okay, there it is. Of course, then I choose, well, it's not gaming technically. It's blog related, pretty much. So, okay, something's weird here. But anyway, that otherwise concludes this video. And of course I'll be processing this video that you're just now watching in the same way. Yeah, except I got segments to stitch together.